then. Chris, I'll cheers you here because, yes, I am the funny one of the podcast. Welcome back, Tackles and Tinnies, episode 18 of the Fantasy Files. I'm here with my boy, my 50th boy of the podcast. Chris, how are you, mate?
Hi, Ryan, my brother from a different mother. Yeah, another Tuesday. I'm excited to talk about mass restings and more injury carnage with you in this penultimate round 26.
Yep, mate, I'm that keen. Where to start? I think, Chris, let's go recap. How did your week go and what were your trades, which I don't think you had any, but what were your trades if you had one?
No trades. I do have trades. I'm going to have to use them this week, actually. I still got one trade left. But yeah, no, kid-wise, we had a bit of an up and down week. You know, the good bits. Joey Taps scored 103. You know, Turbo scored 180. The bad bits. I lost to you, Ryan, in my head-to-head. I scored 13-16. I saw a red arrow after 3 weeks of green arrows. I only dropped about 130 spots, but I'm ranked at about 855 at the moment. Yeah, no, I made no trades, and Teddy was my C. So, you know, I was pretty, to be honest, I wasn't too upset about how my team went, you know, and, you know, hopefully we do better this week, you know. Yeah. How about you?
Mate, where to start for me? I vice captained Tedesco, and obviously that did not pay dividends, but lucky for me, you actually captained him. So you got a measly 80 points with the captaincy on. And my ride or die in the past month has been Reece Walsh, and he is paying absolute dividends because he got 147. So he popped off, and obviously with the double points. I was a little bit salty in the group chat with Walshy giving the Shibasaki gimme. Or was it Shibasaki? It was Kobe Hetherington, the gimme try for his celebration, which was obviously good karma, which then resulted to a fantastic second half performance by Walshy. So can't complain, but man, he's been absolutely on fire. And unless you've held Herbie Farnworth to free up cash, a lot of people who haven't jumped on already might be struggling to get there. So not pod territory for obvious reasons, but for Walshy, he's been very, very good for me. And more importantly, I got green arrows again, so I'm popping off in that regard. I'm currently ranked 1,497, so I went up 825 spots. The top 0.05% could be there. We could be there. But my goal is to get under the top 1K. So I'm definitely potential getting there. And with people not having enough depth, certainly a chance. So, yeah, I'm happy, mate. Life's good. Supercoach beat you in head-to-head. Awesome. A little bit salty about draft. I lost by 1 point. And I reflect in the last 10 minutes of the Tigers game. Alex Twell came on, and bloody hell, he does not miss a tackle. He got like 8 points in tackles in probably like 5 minutes. So that was my doomsday. But we did mention on Tackles and Tinnies last week about Taylor May, and what a pickup, Chris. What a pickup.
Yeah, we probably need to talk about him because he went off. You know, he's now had back-to-back 100s. Yeah, but no, you're doing well, man. You're literally, you know, surging into the top 1K. I feel like I'm kind of just holding on. What did you score last week? Actually,
1497.
Okay, I'm just trying to do some numbers actually because I did spend most of the week actually last week thinking about trading Reece Walsh in, but I chickened out at the last minute because I wanted to keep my final trade for round 27. Turns out I'm going to use it anyways this week, but no, I don't think I would have beaten you in head-to-head. You beat me, I think, convincingly.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Take some notes, mate. I'm pretty good at Supercoach apparently. So no, I'll give a huge shout out. Obviously, Adam, who's now coming fourth in Australia, who I'm versing in the head-to-head final. Adam, you're bad. So yeah, he gave me that advice a few weeks ago now. I think 3 weeks ago to jump on Walsh, and he's just been popping off. So thank you, Adam. You've done me well there. Some good advice. And Chris, I'm more happy about Turbo. Turbo has been good. He's finally come good. Thank you.
Oh mate, I'm so relieved. You know, after last week's, you know, drinky trauma, you know, he's helped me get over my ex. and I'm feeling a lot better too. And, it's crazy how, like Turbo, Walsh, they've all come alive all of a sudden at a time when, and the three incumbent halfbacks, Teddy and Edwards and Drinky, they all of a sudden aren't looking that crash hot, whether being rested or they're coming into some harder draws. So yeah, insane at the moment.
Bit of a side segue. Tedesco. So Sam Walker is now injured with the HIA, going to miss the next 2 weeks. Is Tedesco more appealing now because he might get more ball?
Yeah, it's I would definitely say yes. I'm very happy that Sam Walker's obviously yeah. Bad luck to everybody who bought him last week. I told everybody, hey, he's one of the must buys if you can, along with Walsh. But yeah, no, I'm hoping he bounces back from his that disappointing 40 last week. Yeah, and I do feel that at the same time, like last week was a little bit, even though Walker wasn't there, I think that without Walker, you don't know because I felt like he played facilitator more than running the ball without Sam Walker. But it also could just be the fact that they were missing a halfback, and this week Sandon Smith is also there, so it could be business as usual as they were when he was making all those big scores with Sandon Smith and Savala back, Savala in the halves.
Now, I think TLT is a good talking point straight up, but mate, Penrith Panthers, holy moly, not ideal for those Panthers boys. I almost jumped on Isaiah Yo, so close to getting Dylan Edwards. The Dylan Edwards in hindsight now, good old Captain Hindsight from South Park. That's been a blessing. Like Walsh probably overall now has done better, and he's not playing this week, so sweet as.
Yeah. Penrith have rested 16 players, like literally the entire team has been rested. Like, look, I don't know. I have an issue with this. Like, if I've paid money and I've booked tickets to go see Penrith, I feel like it's bait and switch. Like surely you can just rest a couple of players this week and rest a couple of players next week. But the good news is that players such like Brad Schneider, Dane Laurie, Paul Alamoli, they'd still become relevant in draft head-to-head, which for this week, a lot of people will be doing their finals. So we'll also probably talk a little bit about draft head-to-head a little bit later. Yeah.
Yeah, well, obviously, I'm looking at the ladder now. So Panthers are on 31 points, Roosters on 28, Finns and Manly on 26. So Panthers are locked in top 8. Worst case scenario, they're going to probably get to 8th position. So for them, they don't care. They don't care who they verse. Probably ideally not want to verse the Broncos because they're in red hot form and some boys who'll be coming back who will potentially mention shortly. Yeah, what are your thoughts? Like, I want a bit more of your insight. What do you think about the Panthers boys, mate, being rested this week, not next? Do you reckon they're just thinking, we got the Dogs, we had a tough loss against the Raiders last week. The Doggies, who are obviously a very tough team defensively, it's going to be a bit of a grudge match. You reckon they're just like, we'll punt this game. And I think they're versing the Dragons next week. Correct me if I'm wrong. But obviously, that's a bit more desirable matchup. What are your thoughts?
Look, I think I think it actually probably has nothing to do with that. I think it's just a case of they just don't have anything to play for anymore. They don't have a top 4 spot to play. They can't make it into the top 4 mathematically, I don't think, anymore. So they're just going, why bother? Let's just start resting everybody, And I wouldn't be surprised. There's a very good chance that next week they could still be resting, Cleary, Edward, and Yo as well, the big three, just so that they can get them right, for round 1. And I think the last thing you want is, I think whoever has to play them, it doesn't matter if it's like what you said, Ryan. It doesn't matter if they start from 8th, 7th, 6th, or 5th. You do not want to be playing them regardless, whether it's home or away. So they don't care at all. So they might as well just start resting now. I don't think it has anything to do with the Bulldogs, and the hard way that they play, in terms of the niggle and that really good defense. It could be, it could be that deep that they're thinking about that, but I don't think so. I think Ivan Clear is like, okay, everybody get rested. And which again, I dislike because I'm like, if you want to just rest, everybody just don't rock up the training. Everybody just, everybody have 6 days off and we'll see you on the Friday for the game and that's it. Surely they can play without training. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, 16 players is almost unheard of. Literally, it's almost a full team. So I kind of like the mindset. They're literally just saying, fuck it. We're the top dogs here. Let's just rest everyone. And I like the idea of, hey, let's get some guys some reps in first grade against a good team because next man up mentality. They're going to have to be up for the next 5 weeks in a row now to get to the grand final after this week. So Yeah, I think getting some reps into some other guys, second string, third string guys, probably not the worst idea as well. But I do think if it wasn't the Bulldogs or top 4 team, I reckon they would have had a crack, personally.
Yeah. See, one reason I don't like it as well is only because like another reason I don't like it is that I don't like how if they get spanked, all of a sudden it creates doubt in the Panthers, machine. Like, oh, we're 2 weeks from finals. We got beaten 40-4. I know they may not care at all because they're saying, hey, this is our second string team. But everybody worries all of a sudden. Do you know what I'm saying? Because they're like, oh, they were running hot, psychological for whoever they're versing. But you're right in the sense that as well, another way that you could think about it is maybe they think they're going to verse the Dogs in a couple of weeks in the finals, and they don't want them to know anything at all. Yep. And so therefore they're like, okay, even if you beat us, psychologically you're not going to be like, oh yeah, we beat Penrith.
Yep.
They'll be like, oh, we beat them, the second rate team. So it means nothing, And I think that you would have, if you're wanting to blood guys, I think you're better off blooding them against St. George, really.
Okay.
That way it's going to be a much more competitive game.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm saying.
I'll tell you what, mate, I think you're spot on regarding matchups as well. I think that they don't care about if they rest 2 weeks in a row. Like Nathan Cleary, wouldn't be surprised now. Like I think you've some good points there. I think get them right. I'm pretty sure he's in pretty good health at the moment, but why risk it? Like you may as well just get guys like Brad Snyder or Jack Cole or some other second string guys who you might need to call upon in case an injury happens. Probably better off doing that. I mean, who cares?
Yeah. Well, that's exactly right. I also think it has a little bit of the best way to think is you shouldn't, but you can, and in a way, it's smart. It's a little bit like Harry Grant a couple of weeks ago, milking that penalty, for that field goal. You probably shouldn't, but you can. Like, I mean, I can't imagine the NRL being happy with this look. Because, again, it's patient, not patient, sorry. I'm still in work mode. Customers paying full fee for this, and then getting bait and switched. I would be pretty annoyed. It's like if I've gone to America and I want to watch the NBA and I've booked in to see, Steph Curry for $800 ticket, Golden State Warriors with $800 tickets, and all of a sudden Steph Curry doesn't show up, and neither does Draymond Green.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's pretty disappointing. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I understand that completely, and frustrating, definitely. And again, Channel 9, this will be one of their marquee matchups on Thursday night, so they'll be right and truly pissed off about this game. But I tell you what, from Supercoach point of view, guys like Jacob Carraz, guys like potentially Galvin, maybe sneaky on Crichton for like a draft talking point, obviously with head-to-head finals and draft head-to-head finals right now. These are guys who I'd be picking up, and I'm a little bit annoyed in our Tribots one because I had Galvin and I had Carraz, and I'm like, this was the time, and fuck.
Look, in hindsight now, like at first, originally, like last week when I was on that Sunday, and when I know I'm versing Josh now. At first, I was like, I don't know, who do I want to verse? Who do I not want to verse? And at first, I was like, I really want to play Ryan because Penrith against the Bulldogs, and I'm so glad now, like because Kiraz could he could pick up like a hat trick, easy, absolute easy as. So I'm very glad Josh has knocked you out. And I'm playing Josh this week. Although he has a very formidable team, so I'm very scared as well. I'm very scared. Yeah.
Oh, mate, when you got Payne Haas in your team, it's pretty desirable, that's for sure.
Yeah, my two workhorses, Tallis Duncan and Jai Gray, they're on the bye this week, so I've got to think about who I need to buy in and and put some waiver trades on. Not like last week when I just fell asleep and completely forgot about waiver trades, and when I woke up,
tonight,
mate. Everybody good's been taken. Yeah, but it worked out last week. So.
True. I'm not gonna lie. I was gonna say something in the pod, give you a little bit of sneaky because Randall always complains that we're colluding on tackles and tinnies here. Yeah. I was gonna like drop all my players and like Chris put some waiver wire claims in, but yeah, it didn't work. I wouldn't allow to do that, so makes sense.
But talking about the Bulldogs, a big out for a lot of players. Viliama Kickout, he's out this week. He's got a skin infection. I think he's been hospitalized. Very similar to Payne Haas. I could be wrong. And then other team list Tuesday surprises. Melbourne, they're not playing for their big dogs. No Eli Katoa. That's going to affect a lot of people. No Nick Meaney. No Xavier Coates. Obviously, no Harry Grant because he's suspended for the rest of the season. No Xavier Coates is actually very good for people who have Mark Nwanga-Nitawaze because suddenly he's in so much of a bad play, and now he can be the aerial threat specialist. Kane Bradley, everybody's most hated 2RF dual center, he's in, but Will Warbrick's on the extended, so he may not play. The most important thing for players for super coaches is Pappy and Cam Munster are playing. And also Bronson Garlick is now the starting hooker. He won't be playing 80 because Peasant's at 14, and then Wishart will probably spell him at some point.
Yeah.
Jaden Sewer's back for Dragons. I think that's more for draft. And then also Adam Reynolds is on the extended list for bench for the Brisbane Broncos, but I don't think he's necessarily... Actually, do you know what? He might be a sneaky buy because we'll probably talk about Nathan Cleary replacements. If you're thinking about trading Nathan Cleary out or even a Sam Walker out this week, he could be one of the sneaky ones you want to think about. And then for the Sharks, KL Ero is back, somebody you talked about, Rain, that you're quite interested in.
Yep.
Also, Jesse Calhoun is in at 13 because Cam McInnes is out for the rest of the year of that ACL, and Teague Wilton is back. So they're probably not bad sneaky pickups, all three of them. Put a waiver on all of them if possible because they're playing who are they playing this week? Somebody easy. Newcastle Knights, this week. And then also finally for the Finns, Trey Fuller's at fullback, which is good for draft. It's a shame that you picked him up, Ryan. I was hoping you wouldn't pick him up.
Bro, the Zach Lomax thing actually screwed me because Lomax came in, got the 43. Trey Fuller got the 49 as my AE, which I wanted to have. That was the win. That's the difference.
Yeah, no, Zach Lomax screwed me last week too because I instantly just thought he was done. He wasn't playing. I better play Blaze Talangi and I better play Jermaine Asako. And then I left, for example, 79 points with Hosking on the bench last week. Or sorry, 73, I think is what he scored. And then a couple of others as well. So thanks, Lomax. Yeah.
A couple of guys I want to go over, mate. So first guy I wanted to go over was the Melbourne Storm team in general. So you got Bradley and you got Tumulta Brown. I can't remember how to pronounce his name. Shocking as a teacher. But yeah, I think that both wingers are not playing. I honestly think Suafar Longo and Will Warbrick will take those positions. What are your thoughts?
Oh, look, entirely possible. Entirely possible. I hope Bradley plays because with Bradley this week, without Bradley, I have 16 players. It's absolutely dismal. I'm really hoping he super coaches. I think he super subs in for me. Which buy round was it? Was it in the first or second buy round? He scored 60 for us, for everybody, like a double, and that was awesome. I'm hoping he does that again, and everybody's hoping he isn't playing. That'd be so good. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm keen to take your position in the overall range. So. Yeah, man, I think Warbrick's definitely. Suafar Longo, potentially not, but obviously trying to get some reps in before the final series as a potential option. I think they're both in for sure. Wishart is an interesting one, okay, with the Harry Grant injury. Is there any love for Wishart?
Yeah, the last few weeks, every time you ask me about Wishart, I keep kind of poo-pooing him, to be honest. But he's got a free run average of 73. And maybe I was wrong, and I've got to do the Shaquille O'Neal, I'm sorry. I apologize. I wasn't familiar with your game kind of meme, because he scored 86, 74, and 59, which has been fantastic. Obviously, he's had a try and some try assists as well. So, but yeah, look, if you want to jump on him, what is he? Is he 5'8" and halfback? Yeah, I mean, if you want, you could be a sneaky sell for Nathan Cleary, but I think there are better halfback buys, and also 5'8" buys. I think there are some better ones as well. Yeah,
I really like him as a draft pickup.
Yeah,
if he's available, definitely get him. I told the story maybe 2 podcasts ago when it was this time 2 years ago. Actually, no, this time last year. Sorry, this time last year, I picked up Wishart for the round 26 draft final, and he got 150 points or something. He is going back to hooker some point in that game, as you mentioned previously, with the interchange bench, what they currently got. So I like that. You're going to get those attacking stats at halfback, and then obviously you've got a great running game, potential 40-20 opportunities at a half. Obviously, tackling in the middle as well gets those little points there too. So I think Wishart, low key, really good. And we talked about guys who can free up cash from other places. And when you get guys like Kale Ero coming back, that could be a facilitating trade as well.
Definitely.
And
Definitely.
the next guy I really wanted to talk about, it was actually from the West Tigers. So Tylan May is hereby because oh my god, mate, eye test. I said it last year when he came over, wherever club he was from, but he went to the Panthers and that World Club Challenge. I remember watching it live in my bed. I'm like, holy shit, who is this guy? He says absolutely barnstorming, almost won Panthers that World Club Challenge game. And then obviously had those off-field issues, and he's finally found a home with his brother at the West Tigers, and finally getting some reps and getting some match fitness in, and getting good early ball from Jerome Luai. Obviously, didn't happen as much in the second half, but that first half performance by Tylan May, chef's kiss.
Yeah, I'm going to talk some stats about him, and then I'll tell you what I think about exactly when to get him. And I actually have a very, very specific recommendation as to how to get him if you want to.
Good.
So obviously he's 560k, so he's pretty good, pretty cheap still, really, and he's got a free game average of 85. It really is a case of one Tiger and Adam Dewey goes down and next Tiger in, so it could be a direct swap if you wanted to, if you've got an Adam Dewey. The really good thing, the really enticing thing about Taylor May is really that when Dewey went down, the ball just all went left. Jarrell Skeleton and Brent Naden, was it? Yeah. They were literally just watching the grass grow on their side of the pitch. And this week, I know it's technically a hard matchup at GIO Stadium because it's really cold, but it is against that leaky, Raiders right defense, with Timoko, and it's probably Savelli Tamale this week. And then Zach Hosking, and that's technically a new combination. So they could just leg points if the communication's in there and they're just going, we've wrapped up the premiership and they're just on cruise control. And then obviously Titans round 27, it could be absolutely anything.
Yep.
I think whether you buy Taylor May is positional, and it depends on how many trades you have left. So if you have one trade, you do not. If you have two, you do not. And the reason why is if you've only got two trades left, Ryan, I think you have to buy Walsh and Turbo. They are just so far ahead with everybody else with their ceilings, and they're just captaincy threats every week. Now, if you have only 3 healthy CT dubs, then okay, maybe you need to think about getting him in. But the problem is, if let's say you're a Harry Grant owner, then you can't buy him as well. So you can only buy him if you've got 3 trades left, and you don't have Walsh and you don't have Turbo. But if you do have Walsh and Turbo, you can buy him with, you can buy him if you've only got 1 trade left. But you just have to be careful if you also have Harry Grant. So it really is team positional. But I'd argue that you have to get Walsh and Turbo in first before you can get Taylor May in this week.
Yep. And lucky I'm really good at Supercoach because I have those 2 guys.
So I think you've told us your trade then for this week.
I don't know. The Raiders matchup, mate, just scares me, bro. It scares me. But I think it's a good point mentioning that Tamale not having any reps in first grade for, 6 weeks minimum. I think that's a good call. That new combination, okay, yeah, that's definitely worthwhile to maybe potentially exploit. But yeah, Raiders, mate, Raiders. Is it worth it, do you think?
Well, look, if you don't, we can also talk about other CT dub replacements that aren't Taylor May as we want. But I think he's, I'd probably say, let me have a look at my little sneaky pod look of best ones to buy. I'd probably say he's the top 2. He's definitely top. If he's not the one, he's the second most recommended trade in. And the other thing as well, just to go on Savelli Tamale, you have to remember he's also been playing left wing the entire season. He'll be most likely on the right. I'd be surprised if Jed Stewart got moved to the right. So I think he's just going to be a 1-for-1 replacement with Savage. So now he's on the right, and unless he's best friends with Tomoko and Zach Hosking, again, that communication might just not be there. That connection might not be there at all.
That's so cool.
He could be in for he could score a couple of tries, and he only needs 1 try pretty much to hit 100.
Okay, well, let's segue to another centre wing option because I've got Herbie and Garrick. So I need to make one because I'm bloody sick of Asako being a nightmare, even though he probably has to play this week. But I'm sick of Asako being in the starting team. Okay, now the next guy I want to talk about in regards to TLT is KL Ero. Okay, I love KL Ero. I've had him.
Mm.
Well, had him all last year. I've got him this year again. He did very well besides when he hurt his pec or shoulder, whatever it was. Thoughts on KL Ero? Again, Sharkies have got a pretty good matchup. And again, they're fighting for top 4 position. They've got a lot to play for. Versing the Knights, again, they're doing crap. What do you think?
Hey, like you, he's one of my faves. I drafted him in draft this year, in the 4th round. He's a no from me, 100% no. Just because of the hamstring injury, there is, as NRL physio says, the chance or risk is the highest in the first 2 weeks. He's come from a serious, is it the second hamstring injury or something like that? I can't remember exactly. Oh no, actually no, that's a lie. He did a pec, didn't he?
Yeah, he did pec.
Actually.
I thought he did pec.
Ignore me. Yeah. I take that back, but I'm still going to say there's no need to, just because of the injury. He's going to be rusty. There are so many other CT dubs. Yeah, instead. Yeah, no from me.
So if you had to rank KL Ero, Taylor May, and my third guy, and I've been saying it for weeks, Chris, you can back me up here, Katoni Staggs, how would you rank them?
It'd be Staggs 1, Taylor May 2, and then KL Ero 6. I've got a couple of other ones who I'd prefer instead.
Enlighten me.
Perfectly honest.
We'll come back to TLT. Enlighten me. Who are these other ones?
So, we'll talk about Katoni Staggs. Yeah, 82 for a game average. Absolute amazing service from Walsh and Hunt. And like Walsh, he's just really stepped up the last 2 games, and it's the final 2 games that really do it. This week they play. Oh, sorry, just remind me. Who was that? Sorry,
Cowboys.
Yeah, they play Cowboys. A great matchup. They're just going to be so leaky. And then next weekend's Melbourne. And here's the thing: Melbourne haven't done any crazy restings this week. I think it happens next week.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be. I think actually Craig Melbourne might actually do the exact same thing that Ivan Cleary did this week. He's going to rest everybody, and then if they beat them, it'll be like as if nothing happened psychologically. You didn't beat out an A-grade team, so it means nothing for them. And so that's brilliant. Technically, if that happens, he's got 2 good matchups versus 1 good matchup for Taylor May, or 1.5 good matchups. I really like Lehigh Hopewadi as well. Yes, you talked about people that you need to downgrade to. 464, he is cheap as biscuits, and he just found massive form last week, 160. And, St. George, New Zealand at home for Four Pines Park could be massive. Could be massive. Also, they probably want to say goodbye to DCE, so they want to do some good stuff to him.
Yeah.
My real sneaky pod this week, my favorite pod actually out of them all, which you're gonna, yeah.
Is it Braden Burns?
Nah, not at all. Actually, he's not a good one this week. Actually, only because he doesn't play next week. And also he's not good for draft because he plays Broncos. It's gonna be disappointing to you because you own him already in Classic. It's AJ Brimson.
My boy, he's up the Titans.
Yeah, he's expensive now at $6.49, but he's been so consistent. Can I tell you some numbers? Since round 17, he has scored 95, 45, 71, 63, 117, 50, 71, 83. So he's got a 5-game average of 76, which is elite. And his lowest has been 45, which means he's been getting based. The first part of the season, your worry and my worry had been, hey, he was not basing, and if he wasn't getting attacking scores, he was going to go real low. But this is the kicker. And this is thanks to mostly from last week from NRL Supercoach. They had this for Turbo. But basically, he's playing the Finns this week. They've given up 139 points on average to the last 5 opposing fullbacks. Drinky scored 87, Tuapiki 85, then Teddy 189, Walsh 155, Turbo 180. So, dude, I can't say that he's going to go massive. That honestly, he can't be. Unfortunately, he's not a VC pick, but he could be like a C pick. I don't think you can do it just because there's so many other big options. But look, if you don't own Walsh, you don't own Nico, you could put it on him.
Mate, you are cooked. There's no way. There's no way I put an armband on AJ Brimson. I love AJ, mate. I love AJ Brimson, but there is absolutely no shot Brimo would be getting a armband from me.
But that's
It's
only
not
because
for
you've got
me, dog.
elite players. It's only, and look, there could be a head-to-head thing, where somebody
Yeah,
else has got like the C on Nico, and they
true.
don't have, Walshy. You can put it on Brimson, like
Yeah,
legit. Anyways,
crazy.
anyways,
I like that. It's smoky chat. I do love
yep,
smoky chat.
yep. But the fifth
Um,
one, I would say, actually, before I let you go, the
yeah,
fifth one I would say would just be Matt Timoko. Yeah, 5 game average for
yeah,
87. He's 746K. Crazy,
yeah,
crazy.
and definitely a draft pickup as well. I've seen him float around
Mm.
2 out of 3 in my draft league, so I'm definitely going to be chucking away the claim for an AE at hooker. But yes, get keep. Now, Lehigh Hopewadi, you just mentioned it before. I love that was a shout. Obviously, fullback center wing duel, which is fantastic. If you've held Ruben Garrick like myself, perfect sideways trade. Perfect sideways trade.
Mhm.
So I really like that. If the Manly Seagulls, after last week's performance, gave a little bit of confidence, obviously with DC going out the door, Tommy Turbo finding a bit of a purple patch of form last week, Lehigh Hopewadi could be the buy of the round for a sideways trade. Again, we're losing a lot of guys at centre wing and a bit of resting as well. Yeah, I really like that. That's a really good shout.
Yeah. Don't forget as well, because last week, where did most of their tries go? It was Tallis Duncan on the left,
True.
and AJ. So, and that's the thing. That's where they absolutely destroyed them, in terms of, out of the back, when they were just, passing the ball out the back. Yeah. So many line breaks as well. So he could be on he could just be on the recipient of that. And obviously Adam has, Lehigh Hopewadi. So, so lucky yet again.
So
So lucky.
lucky.
What a great pod.
Now, you mentioned him previously. His name is Adam Reynolds at jersey number 22. I'm looking at TLT now. So, if I'm the Broncos, I do not play him against the Cowboys. One more week could go wonders. As the saying goes, if the wheel ain't broke, why fix it? Okay. Why? Why do it this week? I think give them one more week, let their current combination work. I just wouldn't risk it. I just don't think it's worth it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, look, I'm not Madge, so I don't know. I can't pretend to know him. I can't just call him off the phone. He's not on my speed dial, so I don't know. But I agree with you. They're killing it. Like, they're playing the Cows. They're gonna win. Like, so long as they're not super complacent. As I've just made myself sound about how they're gonna win, definitely. But yeah, it's just so stupid. But if he does come back, there's huge implications possibly, because it means Reece Walsh doesn't goal kick, which
Yep.
is a lot of his appeal as well. And, yeah. But hopefully he doesn't play for super coaches,
Yes,
and he gets that
definitely.
extra week, and Madge also, goes Ivan Cleary mode.
Yep. I really do not want Reynolds playing because I'm actually probably not going to put an armband on Walsh. Like, that's how much Reynolds nerfs Walsh, I reckon. He just
Yep.
takes too much ball away. And then Ben Hunt, assuming, goes back to 5'8". Too many cooks in the kitchen. Again, you got the
Yeah.
same situation. Least with Ezra Mann at 5'8", it's more of a running 5'8", where Walsh can support. You got two facilitating guys that's where Reece Walsh has done so well in the past month. If Reynolds is there, no armband from me. It's an all from me, dog.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you at all. That would be fair. Yeah.
Because literally, it's like one end of the spectrum. Like currently, right now, I'm leaking my captaincy. But currently, right now, I've got Walsh as my captain. But if Reynolds somehow gets named, I've got to move quick and decide what I need to do. So a good contingency plan to discuss later. Now, was there anyone else? Or one other thing was the Dolphins. Also key to note, I've held Herbie Farmworth, one of the really rare ones to hold Herbie. He's not named on the extended bench, which scares me because he probably won't be getting picked next week then. Would you assume that?
Yeah. Yeah. I doubt it that he'd get picked. I think he was supposed to come back for round 27. I can only assume. I don't know. Obviously, there's been no word out of the Finns as to how he's been tracking. Obviously, if they win this week and they really need, and it's a do or die whether they make it into finals, I reckon maybe he comes back in round 20. He's okay, but if they lose this weekend, that's him over.
Yeah. Because that's a real implication for myself personally. And guys who are listening, I really want to hear from you because it's kind of a big decision here. So again, I'll reiterate what the current ladder's doing. If the Roosters win and the Dolphins lose, Herbie's out. But if the Dolphins win and the Roosters lose, and Manly, it doesn't really matter because they're on the same points. But if Manly, let's say, lose as well, Dolphins will then be in the top 8. Okay. Herbie, I think, then gets parachuted back in, which means Herbie as a pod for round 27. Fantastic. However, if they lose this week, why play him? Not worth it. He's done for the year. Now, why I say this is because I can either trade Ruben Garrick, and pretty much the only guy I could really get of Supercoach relevance is Lehigh Hopewadi or potentially a Taylor May. I think I can just stretch it enough. Alternate plan, if Dolphins do win and Herbie does get parachuted in, if the Dolphins do lose, then I can trade out Herbie Farmworth and then get a guy like Kale Ero, or currently I'll leak my trade, Katoni Staggs. Big implications, really. What are your thoughts there?
If you don't trade, do you have 4 center wings?
Yes, I've got. Well, may as well get rid of Asako. So
It's Asako that you really. Okay, yeah. You just really don't want to be playing Asako.
Yeah.
There's a very good chance you could play him if Tommy Turbo goes big and you VC him. Sorry, also again, we're just spoiling. We're just going back to front today in terms of captains. Look, I think that I think it depends on whether or not your focus is on classic or head to head, because you're in head to head finals. If you're in head to head finals, you trade Herbie out so you can get Katoni Staggs, because that's who you've really, really wanted. And I always say to people, if you can't decide and both options are the same, you always just go with your gut feel every day of the week. But because the thing is this, like even if Herbie comes back next week, and that's a big if, why don't he does his hammy? Now I can say it, not for Kale Ero, but I can say it for Herbie. Well, he does his hammy. Now you've just got no points. It's just so stupid. There's no need to. You don't want to get sniped again 2 times in a row. Then you're just like, oh, I wish I'd done this instead. I wish I'd gone with my gut feel, Katoni Staggs specifically. But if you're saying, hey, look, I would like to do, for classic, and I have this really gut feel that he's going to come back, then I guess you can keep him and you trade out. Because to be honest, Leo Hopewadi and Taylor May actually aren't bad buys either. But the chance of Herbie going big in round 27 off a hamstring is probably less likely than what Katoni Staggs will score for you in the next 2 weeks. I will also say as well, Jermaine Asako as well. He's playing the Titans this week. There's no need to not play him. I know they never pass the ball to the left, and every week, I've been doing. I play him because I just go, oh, maybe if they pass to them to the right. But yeah, it's
Chris,
the Titans.
You ruined my superpower. I'm the king of the jinx, and I've been trying to diss him to reverse psychology so he could pop off and get like 120 points. My plan's been foiled. Asako, I'm sorry. Oh my god! But yeah, he's been the most frustrating guy. He might be actually the CEO of Rocks and Diamonds, even though statistically he's not. Eye test says otherwise.
Yes.
I do love a Trey Fuller. Unfortunately, yeah, he's at fullback only, but he's been really dynamic to watch. And again, we've been referring to draft a couple of times. I guarantee he'll be floating around. And personally, for me in draft, the easy strategy is either you nuff out your hooker or you nuff out a front rower, depending on how your team's structured. And then you go for a gun fullback or a gun center wing. And it pays off most of the time, guys. You could literally cull a really deep bench at the moment, depending on what the draft setup is, whether it's 4 players or 6 players. I'm doing that in both my leagues that I'm in the grand final for draft. I'm nuffing out guys like Tom did, and I'm nuffing guys like Stefano. I'm nuffing guys out like, I think it was like Katoni Staggs, because there's like a really good fullback I can get in as well. So go all in, guys. Just get rid of everyone and get the best player potentially available as your AE. You'll thank me. You'll probably win, to be honest. It's a proven strategy.
Yeah, and actually, I'll actually say another strategy that I learned last week, actually. what if you have if you do this as well, I think the best, it's like you said, the best options are either a halfback or a center wing or a fullback, because they're the most likely statistically to go to pop off for massive scores. If let's say it's a center wing, let's say the center wing, and it's an early game and you think they could go big, don't play them in your don't play them in your actual starting position. Play them actually in your on your bench. If they go massive, then you go brilliant. Now I just nuff out everybody else on my bench and you'll get that score, and then you also nuff out somebody on the starting. If they go really poorly, let's say you picked up a DWZ for whatever reason and he scores 22 for some reason, then now you can still play whoever you want, the other backup center wing that you wanted to play, and you can now play him and you get a second chance really at a really, really big score, if that makes sense. Don't play DWZ in the starting CT dub spot. Play them on your bench and you get a second crack.
I like that. That's actually really smart.
Yeah.
Really
Speaking,
smart.
since we're talking about, draft head-to-heads, finals, I agree with you, Ryan, is in just get the best matchups this week. You know, the best matchups, the juicy ones really are Dragons versus Eagles, Cows versus Broncos, and Sharks versus Knights, and then Finns versus Titans. Only because there's no defense occurring.
Mate, you're missing the biggest one now. Bulldogs versus Panthers.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I completely forgot about that, yeah. But the problem with that one is that it's hard to know who's going to go big. You know, if somebody's going to be, it's going to be Kiraz and probably Connor Tracy. But I can't imagine many people not having people like, being able to pick up, Jacob Kiraz in their draft. And I will just briefly, these are some of the notes I have for, obviously, in terms of Penrith, obviously, Laurie, Schneider, Alamotti, we talked about that. They all become viable. Bronson Garlick is actually not a bad play. And now that Melbourne, they're partly out, you can consider Savala, Nwanga Nitawaze, Daniel Tupou. Daniel Tupou's back this week as well, and Billy Smith. And also, like last week, the Broncos, they just have such an amazing matchup against the Cows. So if there's any back available, you pick them up. And I reckon Mariner, Karapani, Shiva, they could still be available. Same thing as Sharks. I've loaded up on Sharks this week. Literally just try to bring in any Shark, whether that's KL Iro, Hiroti, Ronnie, Katoa. Yeah, they could go big. And if you need a lock or a 2RF, then you can think about Jesse Calhoun or Teague Wilson. I know you put him into waivers, and I might try to see if I can pick him up.
Yeah.
I don't have one. And also, Jaden Sewer, he will be a really good pick. I doubt many people have him. He'll be free. He'll be a free agent for most players. Yeah.
He's one of my waiver claims. My other cashy that I'm in. He's an easy pickup. Jaden Sewer, he could definitely be a huge pod for your team. There's also another thing we need to mention, but we'll go into greater detail next week, Chris. But I think it's a good sort of leak. The grand final for Supercoach. What is your initial thoughts on this? So not grand final, the final series for Supercoach.
Yeah, if I'm going to be honest, I have not even looked at it. But, anything that continues this season is great. My partner, she will not agree. I said to her, hey, it's just 27 weeks.
What, baby?
That's non-existent.
We're going no further.
32 now? We're laughing, but if she was here and she was listening, she's not happy to hear that. I haven't even told her about it yet. That's why I haven't even looked at it. I may even give it a skip. Oh, I'm a podcaster, actually. That's a lie. I have to do it for the listeners to help them out.
But it's triple points for the captain, double points for the vice captaincy. And going off first glance and just first thought process, because obviously we're still on like the juicy end of Supercoach and draft, my initial tactic is actually not necessarily getting the best players on the best teams. It's actually looking for those guys in the 5th to 8th position because they're not as good defensively. And that's where more points will be scored, in my opinion. Think about games like Bulldogs versus Sharks, for example. That'll be an absolute slugfest if that's a top 4 matchup. Or Raiders versus Melbourne, another slug matchup. It's probably not going to be many points scored. You're better off going for a matchup like, I don't know, Roosters versus Broncos, for example. Like that could be a point scoring galore, but you're going for like potentially B tier type players. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. You actually hit on a really good point about the low, that things will be very, very defensive, and, the ball will be played more often. There'll be less mistakes. And that actually makes, and that double points vice captain is super interesting because all of a sudden you're not thinking about necessarily vice captaining a fullback or a halfback. You're actually thinking about maybe, vice captaining, for example, like a 2RF, like a Hudson Young or something like that.
Safe.
Somebody who could go massive and also will have heaps of good base for
Yeah.
you. So all of a sudden front row forwards and 2RFs kind of come into play a little bit more than simply just, captaining your Reece Walshes and, or your James Tedesco's. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to reveal my team currently, but there is a flex position there as well, Chris, if you haven't looked. But a lot of the guys who I picked, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of the 9 or 6 out of the 8 positions are top 4 teams. And I'm probably going to be changing that.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, easy decision. And I also had Herbie Farnworth in there, hoping that the Dolphins would make it. It shows you how much attention I've put into the final series. Herbie Farnworth, I love you.
maybe we talk about this next week then. Yeah.
Now, Chris, is there any I think we've got to give some love to potentially Ethan Strange as well. Obviously, probably going to be resting in round 27, but that Raiders game, my God, Ethan Strange, absolute gun. Potentially a start. Man, I talked about this with Jake. I remember the clip. I clipped it up. I'm like, Ethan Strange, he's really, really good. And then I remember you saying the following week, like, yeah, he's so attack reliant, but tell you what, he's looking pretty good.
Yeah, look, he's been crazy, back to back 100s. And it's what I remember that actually. And funnily enough, it's actually the base and the tackle busts which have been absolutely outstanding for the man. Like in terms of tackle busts, he had 14 and 16 in the last 2 weeks. And the really good thing is that I don't think this happens, but like if Jamal Fogarty is the one that gets rested instead of Even Strange, and it probably could be because he's the young one, so it's unlikely he'd get rested. He goal kicks. I mean, when that week that I think Jamal Fogarty, he had that groin injury,
True,
Ethan Strange
yes.
kicked, and then he went massive. And I think he scored something like, was it just out of 24 or 40, just extra points from goal kicking. So
Yep.
yeah, no, he's actually not bad. Yeah, it's actually funny because I remember when Andy, our other co-host of like all the way beginning of the year, he had a really bad week. And I was like, don't do anything crazy like buy Hudson Young or Ethan Strange. And then Hudson Young went massive. We're like 300s in a row or something like that. And I was like, oh, maybe that was the right play. Both of them, they weren't bad plays in hindsight. Yeah. Oh well.
100%. Now, another guy I want to quickly talk about is Harry Grant. So he's out the next 2 weeks. So regardless, I think it's a really big point to talk about. So Grant's out this week, obviously, out next week. So super coach, regular season, he's gone. Now, do you use that? So let's say, for example, you haven't got a backup hooker. Do you have to trade or would you use that as like a free looping opportunity?
Yeah, I'm really glad you talked about this, because there's there'll be a lot of people who are in this issue, myself included. I have Kalani Goings as my backup. I think that personally, I'm not making any trades at all in terms of hooker. It's just stupid. I hate. Actually, do you know what? That's a lie. It's actually been I keep calling it a graveyard, and actually, the last few weeks there's been some really good pickups. That's not just Blake Brayley.
True.
And I'll put some stats up in a moment, but I would honestly consider not doing anything because I won't be doing anything myself personally, especially like this week with Tommy Turbo being a potential VC. It's a free loop.
Yep.
That's where my free loop comes in. Actually, I don't even have 17 players. What am I talking? I can't even make. I'm going to get an automatic free loop regardless. But for everybody else, yeah, I would consider not, especially if you've got Tommy Turbo.
Yep. I think personally for me, man, I'm so lucky. Sandon Smith, I've held him pretty much I've held him all year. He's back. And Sam Walker, he's going to be out for round 26, round 27. I'm set. Like, I'm so lucky that's worked out for me. Obviously, guys like Blake Brayley, Jeremy Marshall-King, I guarantee you're going to be talking about him shortly.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, you got, there's probably Appy Coruscant. He's been pretty good. But yeah, I tend to agree. I think you just run it as a free loop. Unless you got Sandon already there or a backup hooker, I'll just keep Grant.
Yeah. That might be the first time I've heard, woohoo, my players versing the Melbourne Storm.
Yeah,
As a good thing.
100%.
Yeah, you're right. Like, yeah, JMK, he's quietly doing his thing. He's free game average of 81,
Yeah,
like,
man.
and
Top notch.
300s in the last 4 games. Like, I don't know why we haven't even been talking about him. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Just so everybody knows. Oh, it's not exactly 300s, but it was a 98 against the Broncos, but 104 against Manly, and then 106 against New Zealand. And he's just been average scoring tries and try assists and picking up junk. Yeah, he's got an opposite draw to the Tigers. He's got Gold Coast first and then Canberra next, but Canberra could just rest all their players, and so
Yeah.
he's not a bad pick. But he's quite expensive at 624. Your boy Sam Verrills from the Titans, 613. He's been in my draft. He's also quietly averaging a free game average of 80, 79, 88, 79, and 75. And he just keeps jagging tries and try assists. Yeah, thanks to, because of Tino. Yeah, so again, Finns and West Tigers, if you can't afford, Jaden Brayley, but then you can consider both of them. If you want somebody super cheap, Bronson Garlick at free 85K. Yeah, he's a cheaper option. And in terms of his scores when Harry Grant's not playing and he's starting, it's 66, 95, 49. Oh, and then also some average scores at 41, 28, and 23. So he's got a few low ones. But, if you're saying 66, 95, 49, that's actually not bad. That's like pretty much Sam Verrills, category. The other super cheap one as well would be Jake Simkin, but compared to Franz Garlick, he's not as good. Yeah, he's just been taking over that Gerbo's job as a tackle bot. Yeah. So either it's JMK, Blake Brayley, Sam Verrills, Garlick, or just don't do anything. And
would you go back to Sandon Smith? Is that a potential shout? Like, the Roosters got a lot to play for.
It's just that he's only going to be here this week. Next week, Sam Walker will be back, unless he has ongoing concussions.
Is that 11 days?
I think he just has to miss one round, right? Isn't that the point?
Depends on what day it's played on. Like, if they play Sunday,
it was just like Friday. If they say you play on Sunday, right? The 11-day stand down is such that you can then play the Thursday week. So it's only maximum you can miss. It's just to stop you from not being able to miss a week, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but if I'm the Roosters, I guess it's do or die though. Like, they're pretty much going to have to win. Well, saying that, if they beat Melbourne, they could probably let Walker have another week off. But yeah, definitely do or die around 27 for sure.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, that's a tough one. I think the guy to pick up, if you're going to go anyone, I kind of like the JMK shout.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just looking like he's rounding back into form. I think Trey Fuller and Hammer sniffing around, obviously the ruck, that's going to be really advantageous for them. Their back row is looking pretty good at the moment. Yeah, but JMK, why not have a crack?
Yeah. That's why he's in this little group of guys that I said, hey, you can pick any of them off if you wanted to put someone in. Yeah. If he goes massive, he had another 100, But that being said, I would just say, I think Blake Brayley scored like 300s in like 4 or 5 games. And then since that, he's just fallen back to earth a little bit. Not bad, but he's gone 59, 81, 63, 71. So, free game after 71, which is still bloody damn good. It's 100%. Elite. Yeah.
Yeah. And just slightly off Supercoach here, Chris, and this is obviously relevant for my beloved Gold Coast Titans, but there's obviously the news with Desi Hasler getting the sack or retiring at the end of the year, with Josh Hannay, who's the current Cronulla Sharks assistant coach, and obviously helps Billy Slater in the Queensland Origin camp. Obviously, very highly touted, or that's what the media is saying anyway, highly touted young coach. Obviously in Queensland camp. And I think one of the big things is he has already a relationship with Tino, which I don't think is spoken enough about, and Jaden Campbell, obviously being a Queenslander as well. What are your thoughts on the Titans' new head coach?
Hard for me to comment. I don't know too much about it, but I would definitely say that, look, Des has had his time, and unfortunately the players aren't, and the team or the organization hasn't responded to him, despite how many mega sprays he's given the players. The Titans are so inconsistent, so it's just time for a new head coach, even though it may not necessarily be Desi's fault. But the other news actually that I can comment on is Dave Fafita who's been permission to leave. Yeah, all I can say is good riddance. Yeah.
You reckon he actually does leave now with the new head coach sorted? Do you reckon he's
Is
100%
that
green?
opium that I'm hearing, or is that or,
Like,
or
it's annoying because Dave Fafita, healthy, which he has not been all year. This is his third ankle surgery this year, which scares the crap out of me, might I add, at $1.2 million, obviously. But if you got guys like Jaden Campbell, Kenny, and Brimo in your spine, and you got barnstorming Tino getting the hit up, quick play the ball, barnstorming run to Dave Fafita, quick play the ball, or an offload, and then you got one of those three little whippersnappers running around. That's good footy. That's what we want to be seeing. That makes me more confident comparatively to his current role, what was happening.
Yep.
And the whole thing of Bo Firmel having to be on the left-hand side, well, guess what, mate? Bo Firmel got dropped from Origin, and he hasn't really done much since that. So I don't think he's a lock on the left either. So that could give Dave Fafita a bit more incentive to stay or maybe hit it
Well,
to 2026.
yeah, I mean, I would counter by saying two things. The first thing I want to clarify, obviously, is yeah, it's hard to know because obviously I thought him and Tino are really good friends, and maybe you can help answer this. Like, surely, like Tino would want to convince Dave to stay, really, or it could be that the two of them are both leaving. But anyways, well, sorry, we won't segue and sidetrack into that. But the second thing I would counter would be yes, we talk about mate Kinney, AJ, Jaden Campbell, fresh new coach who, Billy, if you're nice to, if you're nice to Ben Hannay, look, you could be back in Origin this year. But then the same, I'd counter by saying, hey, Wayne Bennett, he's supposed to be maybe going to the Bunnies. Wayne Bennett, Latrell, Jai Smith, Jai Arrow, KK, a massive club, way massiver than the Gold Coast. Maybe he needs a fresh start. Maybe a big city as well, big market. Everybody's talking about you, but probably in a good way because hey, my rehabilitation process with Wayne Bennett. So that's what I would counter by. And as much as I agree with JC, they're all amazing players. There's some very other good players in other teams as well.
I think full strength Rabbitohs next year with Dave Fafita, that's bloody top four, mate. Like their team is absolutely gone, and they've got a lot of decisions to make. And got a bit of a tangent here, but Latrell Mitchell at fullback. Or actually, no, I'll rephrase. Jai Gray at fullback. Jai Gray at fullback. On the wings, AJ and Ty Munro. In the centres, I've got Jackie Wyden and I've got Campbell Graham. At 5'8", I've got Latrell. At number 7, I've got Cody Walker. And then my front row, whatever. At number 9, I've got Humphreys. And then potentially a back row of bloody Dave Fafita in there with Tallis Duncan and Cam Murray at lock. That's a pretty bloody good team on paper, in my opinion.
Oh no, they're going to be massive.
Of course.
I'm not a Bunny supporter, but I would be surprised to see. I know it's you're trying to get everybody on the field, but I can't imagine Latrell being at 6 or 7 at all because they also have, as you know, Ashton Ward, who amazing footballer, like real footballer. I really like him, and once he buffs up, dude, he could be he's so good last week against the Dragons. But also, they picked up not Donald Glover, Jacob Glover, who's been killing it. He's the starting. Oh, is it actually Lachlan Ilias is the starting half? I would say probably, but he's like for the Dragons. New South Wales team, and I think they're killing it at the moment.
Okay.
So there's a big jam pack actually at the Bunnies for that 6 and 7 position. I think at the moment, yeah.
Do you
So
have Jai Gray starting at all next year?
Oh, I think he should start. Obviously, it's just a case of it's like Stuart McGill versus Shane Warne. Unfortunately, Shane Warne's better than Stuart McGill, but Stuart McGill, would probably be an all-timer, in terms of cricket, everybody from the 2000s. Yeah.
I like the idea of Latrell at 6. I know it didn't really work this year, but tell you, they're obviously decimated with injury, but a full off-season at 6. And again, he does so well at centre. He's getting equal, if not more, ball. at 6 sort of solves the long range kicking game. And I think just dry grade does all that cleanup work so well. Huge meter eater as well.
Yeah, I think another really good way that you could try to get them in would be actually Humphreys at 7. You're right. If you really wanted, you could get Latrell at 6 if you really wanted to. I think his best position actually is either centre or fullback. But then, as I've been doing, Cody Walker off the bench, and then when Walker comes in off the bench, then Mamzulis gets spelled, and then Humphreys goes to that 13 position or that 9 position, and then they've got two. Actually, then they've got a Bronco situation. Too many cooks in the kitchen. Too many good players. Too many good halfback makers. Yeah,
Yeah, literally. And got obviously Jackie White, and he's been a 5'8"
yeah.
for a long time as well. Yeah, it's a good predicament to have, but that's a pretty good selling point for Dave Fafita. Like, you got a lot of guys being able to give him the ball. That is pretty juicy. I don't know how they can afford him. Like, going up all those superstars we just
I
named.
also want to say as well, like, no, lucky Bunny supporters, but I also want to say, like, look, Talis Duncan just wants to play 12 or 13, but nobody will let him. No matter, they never let him. What does he have to do to play 12 or 13?
Well, who would the back row be? It would be Fafita and Talis Duncan, wouldn't it? Who am I missing? Someone?
Aiken, and Cam Murray.
Murray's 13 for sure.
Yeah.
Keon will be prop with Jai Arrow.
But they keep making him play. They keep making him play. They keep making him play center, and he wanted to play 13, but Cam Murray would play. So then he went to 12, but then he couldn't make it. And he keeps getting. Jacob Host last week played as opposed to Taylor Duncan.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Well, I'll tell you what, Morgo's going to be frothing this conversation. So you're welcome, Morgan. But yeah, probably actually a good idea to ask Morgan what he thinks. Maybe we can tear him up and get his opinion on his 13 and why. Is there anything else, Chris, you want to talk about besides when we get to captaincy?
Yeah, just really, really quickly, I want to talk Cleary Walker replacements. You could play if you need a downgrade in order to fill out another trade. DCE is a possibility as well at 437k. He now goal kicks, and he had a big game last week. He's worth a punt, especially if you think that Cleary doesn't play both next 2 weeks. But I think you have to cop the hit, to be honest, and just hope Cleary plays the Dargans in round 27 because he scored 175 against him in 2024, and he could be a C option that week. Also, quickly, for people who are thinking about who do I trade out, who would I trade Walsh and or Turbo out for? Do I trade Drinky, Teddy, or Edwards? If you've got Edwards owner, you just trade Edwards out. It's super easy now just because he's getting rested. I think Drinky is probably the better trade out compared to Teddy, only because he's on the bye, really. Yep. But he's been phenomenal the last 2 weeks. And then, so I think he's obvious sell. And that's all I have. And then we can go straight to captaincy.
Yeah.
And trades.
Perfectly well said. Obviously, the resting next week is just such a big variable. It's just so hard to predict who's going to be playing. And again, guys of relevancy could be getting the double resting with the Penrith Panthers. Hello, Laura. Welcome to Tackles and Tinnies.
Yet another cameo.
I didn't do the short, and I think I'm still going to do it, guys. But imagine Hannibal Lecter with the leather face or Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That was Laura last week, and I was trying to hold it together. And at the very end, I've got to post the video. It was that funny. Anyway, fullback roulette. It's back. It's hot. So I think I think Tedesco is a good shout this week to keep. I do not want to sell him with Sam Walker getting injured. I think he's just going to get way more ball now. Yeah, and obviously Turbo and Walsh, get him in. And I think good segue to captaincy right now with Walsh. If Reynolds is back, I do not put an armband on Walsh. I just need to see a game with no Ezra there. And then I maybe a round 27 redemption round for Walshy. But yeah, Ben Hunt, Adam Reynolds scares me a little bit regarding the ball.
Would you buy Walsh this week if Reynolds is back then? Do you think he's a trade out?
I think he's still a buy, yes. Just because Dylan Edwards is an easy sideways trade.
Yeah.
I think Walsh plays this week and next week due to the fact that Broncos can potentially get top 4, which is obviously a big variable there as well. just the captaincy. Like, so it's like in the past 3 weeks, it's been an easy decision. VC someone and then Captain Walsh, or vice versa. It's been the easiest decision of my life, and for a lot of other super coaches out there as well. But now with Renault, it just scares me. Like, you've been like eye test, he's getting all the ball where he wants. He's just sniffing around. He's literally telling everyone where to go, like a halfback would. And now that could change a lot.
Yep.
Now, captaincies for this week, and again, so matchup dependent in my opinion. Now, I think the best VC, and I think it's an easy one, Chris, tell me if I'm wrong, Jacob Carraz on Thursday.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say Turbo. I'm actually genuinely surprised. But yes, probably you're right, honestly.
It's
I can't do
scary.
it. There's so many. Yeah. I think I might have, this week I might have to use the SC Gold subscription and find out who's captaining who. Yeah, is what I might do. If everybody gets him, captains him, I'm not going to captain it. I'm not going to vice VC him. And if nobody VCs him, maybe I'll VC him. Yeah, but to be honest, I don't think you can go past Turbo. He's got 180 last week. He's playing St. George. They just got spanked 40-0 by the Bunnies. Absolute spank. Their whole season's over. Dude, it's and Turbo's back. Like, literally, like, my biggest thing, remember I complained about last few weeks. I'm like, I don't know. He looks old and he looks washed. Dude, he burned Isaiah Katoa for speed in that sweep play. And when he went for that first try of his, I think, yeah. Dude, I was like, oh, bro, I cannot. I remember that happened. I was like, I can't wait to put the VC on him. Yeah, this week. Yeah.
I didn't want to be boring. I was being a bit potty, but obvious.
Okay,
Turbo, VC, Captaincy Walsh. Done it last week. Doing it again this week.
Yeah. Well, I'll be VCing Turbo and I'll be captaining Nico against Newcastle. You know,
Nico, don't do it to yourself. We've already had this discussion.
Look. To be honest, I'll be probably putting the C on Dylan Edwards this week, to be honest. Actually, on Harry Grant this week, because I won't have to worry about it, to be honest. But, you know, I was just trying to be potty.
Nico Hines, I cannot do it. It looks tempting. And with Calero back, he's a pretty gun center and definitely could help him. But, yeah, mate, I'm just waiting for the Braden Trindle is due, mate. He's due for a game. I'm waiting for Nico Hines.
Nico is like Reece Walsh, just in a blue uniform and with the 70s back. He goal kicks, he scores tries, he directs people where to go. That's literally what you said about Walsh.
Payne Haas is faster than Nico Hines. So you do the math there. Yeah, mate, you're not getting Walsh in.
Yeah, to be honest, I will probably buy him. I'm probably going to use my last trade for Edwards. Only because I've got 16 players without him, so I'm hoping with him I'll get 17. Yeah.
So for me personally, easy decision. VC Turbo against St. George, and then Broncos, Captaincy Walsh against the Cowboys. Bit nervous with Renault on the number 22. But again, if you've got both those boys, I'm a business teacher. In business, we use the KISS method, which is known as keep it simple, stupid. Okay? Makes sense.
And if it turns out that Adam Reynolds is back, Ryan, and Turbo doesn't, just imagine a theoretical universe, you know, and you can't not do theoreticals. If he doesn't go big, are you putting the C on AJ Brimson?
Oh, imagine I have to go Nico Hines, Jaden Campbell. I'm going Jaden Campbell. Yeah. I can't do it.
Basically, last week that did not work out well for me, and I'm not doing it again.
Yeah, fair. But yeah, tell you what though, Jaden Campbell's smoky captaincy chat there against the Finns, definitely.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Didn't even think about him, but again, he's burnt us a couple of times. But yeah, up the titties. So, Chris, any last words, mate?
No, I hope everyone has help. Hopefully, nobody's affected too badly by these mass restings, and I hope you guys have a really, really good week and you see green arrows. You know,
yeah, and more hopefully getting some cashola from the head-to-head finals and draft finals.
Yeah, good luck everybody for that. Yeah, AJ Brinson, captain. Woohoo!
Too smoky.
I'm not backing down.
All right, tackles and tinnies. That's been episode 18 of the Fantasy Files. Crazy how we're going to get to like 23 episodes, which is going to be good. Good omen for LeBron James being number 23. But yeah, guys, it's been really, really good. Get those waiver claims in ASAP. You're probably not going to hear this going to be uploaded in the morning, but if you get the potty on early, get those waiver claims in. Again, look for those nuffs in those highly touted positions. Just again, look for probably what I tend to do, Chris, as well. I actually don't look at last week's score or the total score. I actually go for a 3-round average. I like a bit of consistency. Yeah, like a bit of consistency.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I like the way you think, my friend. Yeah.
But again, obviously matchup pendant as well, guys. Look for those juicy matchups. Best of luck in your cashies. Best of luck getting some green arrows. That's tackles and tinnies. We love you. We want to hear your comments on all the socials. Again, you guys are doing a really good job of doing that in recent times. Again, the more engagement, better for us. I'm starting to like to integrate some of these different topics into the podcast as well. You guys seem to like that as well because I know you missed some of that with Gary. Gary, who knows what he's doing in overseas? He might be doing another physio corner. Time will tell. We'll figure that out when we get to
the
it.
bunnies again.
Yeah, exactly right. Who got injured this week? Gary will figure it out for us. But we love you guys. Best of luck. Get that cashola. Maybe the money man to a Pilotu might help you out. See you guys.